Okay, I'm gonna present the podcast.
Mhm.
You're Dan from Canada, studying psychology. Do you think that represent you?
No, absolutely not.
No. Okay, what do you think that represent you?
Artist,
Artist.
yeah.
Okay.
Creative mind, creative thinker
Wow.
with some knowledge of psychology.
Okay. Anything else?
Lover of nature, I would say. Explorer of the mind and body,
Wow.
maybe spirit,
A little bit spiritual.
a little bit. Yeah,
Okay. I think that's already an amazing
yeah.
presentation. So thank you for coming, Dan. Happy to have you here in Utrecht, Netherlands. I think we are going to have a really interesting talk.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I'm
because
happy to be here.
yeah, me too. We have discussed so many things earlier about the mind, the body, the life, the
Hmm.
nature. Yeah,
Yeah,
you had an opening question.
I do have an opening question.
Surprise.
So we're both kind of into meditation. We
Yeah.
both like it. We're both uh, interested in pursuing it, seeing where it goes. And you have been doing it for you have been doing you have been doing it for far longer than I have.
Yeah.
I mean, when did you start?
I started at 14 or maybe 13.
Okay, so I maybe started when I was 20, and I'm like 22 now. So I'm curious, what have you noticed as you've continued to meditate? Have things changed? Have you perceived the world differently? Uh, I'm just curious where this goes and maybe what I'll be experiencing if I continue my
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah. Uh, at the beginning, I wasn't really meditating because, like, my mother just told me, like, okay, you know that kind of thing, like, okay, I'm gonna show you something, and she started guiding me through a meditation, and I didn't start really, but I don't know why I started to. From this point, I don't know if it was because of my age, but I started being more focused when I was going to the nature or something in that age at 14. So I don't know if it's a correlation. When I was 16, I started like meditating one time per week or something like that. Then when I was 18, I get really into the meditation. I started the Wim Hof breathing. I get started taking to the ice bath. But it wasn't until I came here when I started meditating every single day, like every single day. And I will say I could not say like, okay, yeah, for sure there is a change because I was growing up with meditation, like my brain was developing itself because I started with 14 and maybe with 18, obviously I had more awareness of the world, but I don't know, but in this last 3 months, yeah, I will say like, because when you are more focused, when you are more aware, when you have more attention in one task, it's like you live more that. I don't know how to explain it, but I know it's like when you are multitasking and then you try to remember that it's like you didn't know where you were, right? It's
Hmm.
like, yeah, was I watching a series or listening a podcast or writing by WhatsApp, texting by WhatsApp?
Okay, the way I like to think of it is like you have a limited amount of energy.
Yeah,
It's a little bit hippy dippy, but and theoretical or abstract, but you have a limited amount of energy. Say there's like 4 lanes and you have liquid flowing on all the lanes, and that's like your typical daily life.
okay.
Is you're in these multiple lanes, you're trying to focus on all these things at once. You have one lane is your thoughts about your future, one lane is thoughts about your past, one lane is I don't know the schoolwork you have or the girlfriend you're talking to or whatever. But when you meditate or you focus on one thing, it takes all that, say, liquid that is still there,
Yeah, yeah,
condenses it into one specific lane, and it's still the same amount of energy, but it's just compressed and focused and a lot more powerful. So, I mean, do you relate to that idea? Have you felt that?
yeah. I think it's a really good metaphor to
Mm-hmm.
explain that. Yeah, I think there are a few metaphors to explain how the focus work, how. But yeah, I agree that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but when I think when you more meditate, you start being. I don't know, I really felt improvement in my focus when I listening a song,
Hmm.
like when I'm reading, like the ability to, like if my focus was here, I think now I can achieve that here, you know?
Yeah,
There are actually many studies about how mindfulness can make you upgrade to that level.
I think it makes life so much more enjoyable when you can just focus and you can listen to one song when you're disoriented and not focused, and you can listen to the same song when you're in a kind of meditative state, and it is just like blissful and enjoyable. It's almost like a drug.
Yeah,
Uh, so it's like a very powerful tool that I want to incorporate. So I guess you're saying you go more throughout your day in that state, you'd
yeah.
say? Yeah.
And when did you start meditating?
It was actually in firefighting. Yeah.
Firefighting.
Our boss was kind of into it and has us meditate for 15 minutes every day before work. Yeah, before we train in the woods, in the forest. Yeah.
Wow. Um, how was the type of meditation? Was it like breathing or movement or what type?
It wasn't guided at all. He was very loose about it. He essentially said, "These 15 minutes are for you. You know, you should do breathing exercises and focus on your breath and focus on the present moment. But it's really for you, and you can use it however you want." Which I think is useful because it gets you to explore of like what gets you to focus. Because when you're starting out, maybe, and someone tells you about meditation, and they're like, "Okay, no, just focus on. We're gonna just do a body scan," and you're
Yeah,
like, "Well, this is bullshit. I don't want to focus on my body." But I think it was nice to have space to be like, "You figure it out. Figure out your own meditation." And it seems like you also kind of went along that path a little bit.
yeah.
Do you do the Wim Hof thing every day? Is that your main meditation?
Not every day. Like I change from one breathing focus meditation, a few days, and then a few days we have breathing. Depends on the day how I feel that day. But I really love the we have breathing. Like it makes me feel the most. But sometimes I like I wake up, I have breakfast, then I have a cold shower when I just get into the this kind of breathing sometimes because you need to be focused,
Hmm.
in order to because you have a lot of cold. And then I have the meditation, and sometimes I have the breathing exercise before the shower, and sometimes after I just do a normal meditation.
Hmm.
When do you usually meditate?
In the afternoon, probably around 3 or 4 o'clock. Like I really find it's better to meditate when the sun is up. I don't know if you experience that too, or just when it's all dark.
Yeah.
And even when you close your eyes, there's like darkness to it. But when you
Uh-huh.
close your eyes with the sun on, it's like it's this kind of brightness that even makes you happy or like reach for the light. I don't know if
Mhm.
you experience that or relate to that.
Yeah, yeah. Mm, I know what you mean. But the problem for myself is like I try to meditate in the afternoon,
Hmm.
but some days you are doing a different thing at the afternoon than the other one. So I wasn't able to create a habit in the afternoon.
That's true. You almost always have the morning, like
Yeah,
no matter what. And I think that's
yeah. You can wake up just half an hour earlier, okay, and you have your meditation, you cold shower, whatever you want to do. But in the afternoon, I wasn't able to create a habit.
mhm.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
So I changed to another part.
That almost makes me want to switch to the morning too, because I haven't been meditating every day because I usually do it in the afternoon. So I find like, oh, I'm occupied this evening. I can't do it.
Yeah,
I have a plan or
yeah,
something.
I know what you
Uh,
mean.
and in the morning, you have those habits. Like, there's a typical time you eat breakfast?
A typical breakfast.
Yeah, like a typical time that you eat breakfast every day.
No, I wake up sometimes earlier, sometimes later. Because today I wake up at 5 a.m.
Hmm.
Yesterday I wake up at 12.
Why so early?
Because I needed to send that assignment. I needed to
Right.
send one assignment for one course that we have, and the deadline was at 11 a.m. So I need
Hmm.
to wake up earlier because
Yeah.
yesterday I was really tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have at any moment like a breakfast schedule?
Yeah. What I was getting at is that Have you ever say you have a massive meal the night before?
Yeah.
You know you're not hungry. You know because you've eaten so much garbage the night
Yeah.
before, and then it comes time to the typical time you eat a meal, and you feel like this hunger in your belly, but it's like fake, inauthentic hunger.
Yeah.
It's like this burning hunger,
Yeah.
and if you just wait it out for like 20 minutes, maybe that's a part of mindfulness too. You're like, you just ask yourself, "Am I really hungry?" And then the feeling subsides. You know, like, oh wait, I'm not really hungry. Uh, I don't know. I don't really have trouble controlling my diet. Now that I think about it. I mean,
Hmm.
do you?
Like control my diet.
Yeah. Do you think about your like the food you eat?
Um, I when I was 16, 17, I started fighting in kickboxing.
Hmm.
In those days, I really had to measure every gram of my food
Yes.
and eat really healthy. And I learned some things about nutrition, like basic things. From this day until now, is like I try to eat the things that you should eat in the I try to eat the things that you should eat in the period of the day. Like there is no meaning of eating pasta at night
Hmm.
because it's like complex carbohydrate, like kind of these things. So I try to
Yeah.
eat in the proper moment of the day.
What do you mean by that? In
Uh,
terms of the carbohydrates at night
yeah,
or something like that?
because when you eat carbohydrate at night, like in 2 3 hours they will become energy, and if you
Hmm.
don't use that energy, they will become fat.
Yes.
And it's not like a useful fat like the avocado or peanut butter. It's
Hmm.
like you are not giving a you are not using them, so it's like there is no purpose. Like it makes sense maybe eating pasta during
Hmm.
the day, that kind of
Yeah.
things. I've listened a few podcasts about nutrition in the Andrew Haberman lab. I already told you about
Hmm.
that. They are really cool, they are really simple. He's professor at the Stanford neurobiology, so
So what are they looking at?
like where is when should you eat and what should you eat in which time of the
Okay.
day,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know
Yeah. So what do they say for say like a breakfast? Because I think between our countries, there's the biggest difference. I'd say cuisine is massive difference, but especially for breakfast, you have an American breakfast, which is just a stack of pancakes and a stack of eggs and like a mountain of hash browns, and then you eat it and you feel like just lethargic and tired all day because you're processing all these carbohydrates. When in Spain, it's bread, cheese, maybe some meat, and you're not like stuffed or full, but you feel like you're ready to expend energy at that moment.
so do you always have this American breakfast even though that you are from Canada?
Ye I'd say I have a more American breakfast than people here for sure. I have toast.
Okay.
I put peanut butter on it,
Okay.
and Sergio, my roommate, is like who's also from Spain, because like peanut butter is a very American thing, very American idea. He makes fun of me for it. And then I put slices of banana on top of the
Okay.
toast,
Okay.
and it's two of them. So it's carbs with fat and more carbs, essentially sugar, and I eat it. I mean, I like it. I find it good. It's good energy, but uh, yeah, have, have you or like have you ever tried an American breakfast or that kind of lifestyle?
Bro, mira, look, to be honest, I had that kind of breakfast today, but
Hmm.
without the banana. Like
Yeah,
I had toast with peanut butter. So yeah,
yeah.
I've tried. Uh, it depends. Like I mean, I don't follow every day this kind of science related tools to nutrition and daily life because it's difficult
Hmm.
sometimes. Like I think the another interesting thing is like you should eat in a window of 8 hours. That's the most productive and efficient thing for your body.
Hmm.
But that kind of thing is like, yeah, I try, but it's difficult. So I'm still creating that the habit. So
Yeah.
I think it's not bad. This, I mean, I'm not a nutritionist, but I think it's not a bad breakfast.
Yeah.
for my perspective, is healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I find it funny that you talked about the when you were younger, you kind of built good habits too. Like I used to be like pretty unhealthy or like
Yeah.
chubby. I used to be like a chubby, happy Canadian chubby kid, and I started to row when I was in high school, and immediately lost like a ton of weight. And then it almost doesn't matter what you're eating when you lose that much weight. But I mean, I was a lightweight rower, so you have to control what you eat, and you have to watch your weight to get into certain competitions.
Hmm.
Uh, so after that moment, I feel like I just had automatically built good habits when I was at a young age, so I
Yeah.
didn't have to worry about it. Say when I got to my age, uh, so I I think there's a lot of ingrained habits that we got say when we were 10 to 15 years old that we just keep, and
Yeah.
those are very deeply ingrained, and like it's a fundamental time for gaining good habits and
Hmm.
becoming I think who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think that you are good creating habits?
Um, I think so. I think I became a very good worker, a very good ed school worker, and I would lock myself in the library for hours and study when I was 14 or 15.
Yeah.
And then now I'm at the point where I'm kind of questioning my good habits a little bit. Like it's kind of sounds weird to say, but as I open the podcast with, I don't love psychology. I find it's okay. It doesn't excite me when I study it. So for my first, say, 2 years of education, I would go to the library and study religiously this shit that I didn't believe in and things that I wasn't passionate about. But I was so ingrained in this habit to just constantly study and complete the task that I never took the time to question it. If
Oh,
that makes sense.
okay.
Yeah.
And right now you are in that point when you want to question everything more than just reading.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, you're in a bit of a tunnel vision
Yeah.
growing up. You don't need to question,
Yeah.
essentially, because there's a bit of a track. You're in high school, you go from, if you're in most part of the wealthy world, I'd say
Yeah.
there's a bit of a pressure to go to college. So you don't even have to think about what's next. But
Yeah.
uh, as you get to the end of college, like we are, you get and you maybe have a moment to question what you're doing exactly. You're like, oh, wait, I'm just I know I just am pre-programmed to sit in the library and fill this out. But you sit back in your desk and you're like, wait, why am I filling this out? Why am I doing this work exactly?
Yeah.
Uh, did you ever go through that moment, or are you going through that right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly right now. Yeah. Too many moments like, yeah, it's difficult, because I also wonder myself if, I mean, I think I really like psychology, but I really like also other things.
Hmm.
So it's like, if I would have I don't know, so difficult because on one side I want to take a gap year and travel to Asia and get lost in the middle of the forest, the
The
woods.
monastery. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but then I think, or maybe I want to fool myself. I love psychology. You are never sure about that.
Hmm.
What about you?
Do I like psychology or
If you are wondering, like, what questions are in your mind right now about which path take,
hmm,
which is a really good question.
that is a good question. I think I know it's not I think I know. I'm gonna say I know it's not academia for me. I know it doesn't excite me. Or, I find I'm most alert or energized when I'm around other artistic people.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I have this weird kind of rebellious nature to be like, fuck society, fuck the system. And I feel like feeding into academia would just be feeding the system a little more, uh, and feeding this kind of big machine that I don't agree with, and it's kind of being swallowed by it. Yeah, so I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, I'm gonna finish this degree. Maybe I wish I had dropped out earlier, but I'm gonna get through it and then get, see what it's like on the other side of it. on the other side of academia. Uh,
Okay, before before going to this side, because I really want to ask you, how is this side for you? How would you define it, or where do you want to go? I
mm,
want you to ask you just to give, also because I am interested, but also to give some background to the listeners, like how is education in Canada? I know it's a
mhm,
really broad question, but or how is psychology in Canada? How do you feel that? Uh, yeah,
mhm.
let's start for that point because you are in 5 year in psychology,
This is my
right?
fifth year.
Fifth
Yeah,
year, okay.
yeah. Uh, I think yeah. Just to open it broadly, I think as I've gone through college, I've learned that I'm a bit of a creative, more of a creative person,
Okay.
or creating things excites me, and I feel like uh, it's about, uh, or I feel that throughout college, it's less about creating and more about just regurgitating information as like it's like a sad reality of the situation where you want to understand and learn the information maybe, or you are excited about psychology, but you find yourself just taking in the information and spitting it out. And I think that's kind of a universal thing in education
Yeah.
that maybe should be changed, should be more of a conversation. Uh, but regardless, in terms of what it was like being educated in Canada.
Yeah. Like for instance, like the difference with Netherlands, because maybe it's I don't know. For
Yeah,
instance.
yeah. Typically, you'll have 5 courses in a semester,
Uh-huh.
which compared to here, there are 5 courses at once. So you're juggling a lot of balls
Yeah.
essentially. You're constantly micromanaging yourself to complete all these tasks because there's, I know, 4 times or 2 times more of the courses that you have at once compared to
Hmm.
here. Uh, there's typically a lot of labs. I've half my degree is biology. I spent a lot of time, quite a bit of time in the lab doing little experiments on animals, or like flashing worms with flashlights to see if they turn left or right or something like that.
Did you like it? That part?
I like that part. That was the most applied part. It felt the most real and
I
tangible.
saw your face.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
knew it. That was
Flashlights and worms is fucking
you
sick.
were like, yeah, 5 course, and then oh, but there was the lab.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was like the one bright spot, and you get to like, okay, maybe this is one upside of education. You get to fucking struggle through school with somebody else. Uh, for example, in the labs, it's kind of shitty. It's not awesome. It's not free and loose. Do whatever you want in the lab. There's beakers and materials or whatever. It's like, no, you have 2 hours to do this very intense chemical reaction
Yeah.
with math and all that shit. And you're paired up with a lab partner. And by the end of this lab session, you get very close to these people
Okay.
because you were just struggling together, and kind of uh, fighting to flash flashlights and worms, or do whatever you need to do, or like centrifuge horse blood and then measure it out and like make a cell culture with the blood, something like that. And maybe a part of my disillusionment with education right now is through COVID, when it is completely fucking isolated. So I'm kind of missing that camaraderie
Yeah.
that education has. Uh, yeah, man. Like, do you feel like COVID during education has changed your perspective, particularly because of this isolation?
Like the my perspective of education itself, or
Or going through this experience of I think COVID, uh, part of the reason why I'm a little bit like fuck uh,
okay,
college right now is probably through my COVID experience here.
was it that bad in Canada?
Yeah, I mean it's all online, right? It was all online for you.
At the beginning, yes.
Yeah.
Then the last year, I had almost. It's really confused, like I don't know if it's I. Well, I know it's the same for you. Like the notion, the perception of time of the
Yeah.
COVID time is like all blurry.
It's all warped. Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, the previous year, I think I had most of the year offline,
Hmm.
like face to face. So, and I went to class, and they were only like we were in a small groups. Oh no, 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 that was half. Wow, half online and half offline. I
Okay.
remember right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the offline week, we have a lot of more classes than in the online.
Hmm.
So it was maybe in the online just half of it or a quarter. So most of the class face to face. I enjoyed that part honestly because we were only like 15 in class,
Hmm.
and I felt really comfortable to say whatever came to my mind or something like
Hmm.
that, which is something that I was finishing, like I was creating that, and then in those days was like, yeah, I don't care anything, like even online,
Hmm.
and I like this. But I really remember that good times like
Yeah.
this class. But yeah, also the beginning of the COVID was really was hard.
Yeah.
But I'm like a masochist because I took all everything like, yeah, this is an experience, so let's leave that and see
Yes.
what happens. It's like COVID, okay, but it's like an opportunity. It's
Hmm.
like you can be thankful for living that. Okay, yeah, obviously there are some economic disasters, a lot of people die, yeah, but I mean like trying to see the bright side because obviously there is a bad side.
Hmm.
There was, I mean, I am thankful for living that because now in my life there is another period, a different period, which is not going outside and hanging out or doing this. So I was in home and creating a new life in
Yeah.
home. How was
I thought
for
that
you?
too. It's just like, yeah, we're in a new environment. There's going to be more time alone, more time with yourself to improve
Yeah,
yourself, right?
exactly,
Uh,
exactly.
so you're like, yeah, this period has really unique qualities to it.
Yeah,
Let me take
yeah,
advantage of it and like
yeah.
harness it. Let me like, I bought a guitar. I'm still not great at guitar. I bought a guitar. I bought, I don't know, a skateboard. I started meditating way more during COVID time. I was like, yeah, what a time to focus on yourself and to come. I was like, I want to come out of this, uh, a better person essentially, so that this wasn't for nothing. I didn't waste this
Yeah,
time. Did did you kind of take up certain like self improvement tasks?
yeah, definitely. Like I found some things in my mind that maybe I wouldn't be able to find them in a different situation,
Hmm.
right? I feel like that changed me. That changed me, and that's life is changed, so I'm happy for that. And
Yeah.
I write so many things, so many reflections that I'm so proud of it. Like, wow, how did that came to my mind? Like, holy shit.
Do you remember any of them?
Uh, uh, some of them too personal,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I remember. Like I wrote. I'm always having like a journal, like a
Hmm.
diary, writing, but not about what I do, but about what I think, what I feel, or more like that.
I do that too. I
Yeah,
sometimes write like I'll have like a realization and then just write a sentence of it in my notes app or something. Like
yeah,
I also like to journal occasionally, but
yeah,
you have that too, where you get like a really good idea and you're like, yeah, oh, this is like a gold nugget of information. I need to write this down. So is that what you're talking about with
yeah,
these realizations?
yeah. And also, like, I don't know if for me, if I want to change something or just release my thoughts or something like that, like writing down helped me a lot.
Hmm.
For you, is it the same? Like, do you feel release when you write down the things, or I don't know?
A lot of the time, when it is just an idea or like a really impactful feeling I have, I would write it down more so I don't forget it. It's like a realization where like, no, I know I'll forget this someday because time does its thing and you're just gonna move on. But uh,
Yeah,
if I open that page on my notes app, I can be like, oh right, I thought this was really important at the time, so it probably is to myself.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested right now to see like what they are. On my notes app.
Do you wanna
Yeah,
read one
yeah,
of
man.
them? Okay. 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 Yeah.
Okay, in all caps, I wrote, "Let them dig,"
What is the which is the meaning of that? Like,
and I think it was at a moment where I was so fed up with sharing information about myself or telling my life story to everybody, or
okay, okay.
like a lot of these come out of moments of frustration where I realize like, why am I suffering right now? And then I'll be like,
Mm.
oh, it's this. I should change my behavior. So um, sort of it comes out of a need to entertain people or to uh, yeah to feed like this desire to please everybody sometimes. So it's like, no, 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 no. If you want to know about me, you ask me. Let them dig and try to
Yeah.
find information about me, because I would waste too much energy expelling
Mm. Yeah.
like
I
it's
know.
it's sad to say, but like expelling love into the world when maybe it's not the right time or place for it. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't expect that last.
What did you think it meant?
No, I know
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
mean, but I didn't expect that that plus at the
Hmm.
end, But I know because I one day I felt the same. Like I was in a festival and it was, in the festival you are meeting hundreds of people
Hmm.
every day. It's like here in the beginning of the Erasmus, like you are meeting a lot of people. I was like tired of telling what I
Yes,
am,
yes,
and then it becomes one moment when I realized I was saying like one script.
yes. You're saying just it feels like you're reading a teleprompter about your
Yeah,
life. Yeah.
like yeah, I am that, and then like automatic you are showing something about yourself, like maybe a painting,
Hmm.
because I paint, and it's like, oh, then you paint, and then yeah, and
Yeah.
then you show your Instagram, and then I realize, holy shit, I'm following a script, and then
It
I
doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good.
no,
Yeah.
and then from this in this moment I thought like, well, not in this moment, like a week after that, I thought the same, like maybe it's better like wait to the people to ask me the things, or just be flowing with them,
Hmm.
even though I am automatic size. I have a
Yes.
habit to say that things.
Yes. And I think the flip side of that is finding a spot or a place where it is acceptable to kind of spread your love a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh-huh.
so yeah, you can let them dig sometimes. But if you find yourself in a area or experience where like you can share and be shared by many, and they can share and reflect their knowledge or whatever, uh, man, that would be rewarding. Like it's about kind of identifying when to open
Hmm.
up a little bit and when to kind of like hold back, kind of let
Yeah.
your energy kind of build up, recharge,
Oh,
and then oh shit, I'm in a space with a bunch of awesome people. Let me fucking share my love
yeah.
or share things about myself. Yeah. Do you
Interesting.
relate to that?
Yeah, it's an interesting reflection. I
Hmm.
will think about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
No, because there's a bit of a notion to constantly be spreading love all the fucking time. I hate to be the downer or this like fuck the hippie movement kind of thing, but like no, if you're spreading your love and
It feels good for you.
oh no, no, no I'm
No.
sure it feels good for you,
Okay.
but to be pretend that it's sunshine and roses all the time,
Mhm.
I would think would be, or at least for me, would be very tiring, especially in a place where you're not getting that good energy feedback from people.
And that's the reason why you don't like that hippie people.
Yeah,
Let's say.
yeah, of just like here I'm gonna open up and be a fucking open book about my emotions for everything and everybody. I'm gonna be vulnerable to the world right now. I think I want to find myself in a place where I can be vulnerable all the time around everybody, right? But I feel like maybe right now in university, right here, right now, maybe isn't the right place for that.
Uh-huh.
But I would encourage everybody to find the place
Hmm.
where they can be vulnerable
Yeah.
at all times.
So you don't think that it's like a good achievement to be vulnerable in every place,
I think the highest achievement you can get is to be vulnerable, completely vulnerable,
not fake
emotionally,
vulnerable.
not fake vulnerable, to be vulnerable wherever you are.
Okay.
You should find that place. and you should search for it because I think everyone has kind of a place where they can be completely vulnerable. Uh, and but when they're not in that place, why do that when you're not going to get when it's not going to make you feel good?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like the goal is to be vulnerable, right? But I think if you expend your energy being vulnerable on your path to find that place, you're never going to find it because you're going to lose yourself in the journey upstream to try to find that area. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Did I
Sounds.
convince you?
I will reflect about
Yeah.
that tonight. I wrote it down
Hmm.
a word as a key,
Yeah.
so I can
Think of that.
remember that question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you another thing, like related with this biology, math, psychology degree
Hmm.
that you are right now, like, fuck you, right?
Yeah.
Uh, don't you think, like, this process, this experience has so you, has provided you evolution in certain aspect?
Absolutely. These psychology or education even
Yeah,
or biology has its uses and it is completely a good for the world.
yeah.
Totally. And I advocate for anyone who wants to go into that field and be a part of that. It's a little selfish to say, but like, no, it's just not the field for me specifically.
Okay.
And it was kind of, I've kind of wrestled with that a little because I know it's good. I know psychology is good and helpful for people, but did I necessarily want to do it myself? I don't think so. I hope that answers your question.
Huh?
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, do you regret of doing that degree?
Mm,
Of
I regret doing my degree. I realize now that I regret doing it, but I wouldn't have realized that had I not gone through 3 or 4 years of this thing. So it would be futile to be like to regret or to feel guilt
yeah.
over these 4 years because they brought me to this place and they brought me to an understanding that this isn't necessarily what I want to do. Um, if I were to meet, that's the thing. If I were to meet myself 4 years ago, starting or going into university,
Yeah.
would I say go through with this or don't go through with this? Because if I didn't go through the trial of education, I wouldn't have come out with more of a direction or sense of what I want to do compared to someone, I don't know, 17-year-old me who had no idea what he wanted to do and would still have no idea what he wanted to do had he not gone to university. Yeah. At your door.
Uh, I don't care the door.
Yeah.
We are busy right now. Okay. Okay. That's a interesting answer.
Do you regret your degree?
I have that kind of mindset, maybe to fool myself, maybe it's adaptive, of I cannot regret of something because I like the past, like the Borja of the past,
Mm-hmm.
did all he can in the best way he can with the circumstances he has. So it's like, yeah, I did that because in that spot, I did, in that time, I did my best and I choose that. Um, I don't know, but no. Even though I could regret for something like apart from this mindset philosophy, I think I'm happy to choose that. I think it's one of the if it's one a really good one decision.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say like tough, but not tough, but yeah, it's a because and I think I learned a lot of things in the university. I met too many people.
Mm-hmm.
I am here, right? Like thanks to psychology, I'm here in
Mm-hmm.
Utrecht speaking with a Canadian guy who also studies psychology. It's like
Mm-hmm.
wow, it's like blowing my mind. So and I'm happy because maybe the education is also different, maybe our perspective, but I think psychology is like a interdisciplinary field
Hmm.
where you can apply that for yourself, for the people, also for creating a method to learn. If you are trying to, if you are learning, I don't know, memory, like psychology of memory, and you want to apply that to learn faster, you can try with experiments. Some
Hmm.
people doesn't try to do that, some people won't. That can extrapolate to so many courses. I think psychology, it's from my perspective, a good degree. Obviously, there is a bad things in education that could be improved, like absolutely, but I don't regret. I'm happy.
And those bad things don't make the rest of it like not worthwhile. I think. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
Okay, following, like now we have talked about this side of education. You told me that there you want to explore right now the other side,
Hmm.
right? How would you define the other side? Do you have any plan right now?
Hmm. Uh, I'd be curious to see what happens if you just create things and put them into the world and see what happens. If you create films, if you create, specifically for me, I like to write screenplays. I like to write stories or
Yeah,
what have you with my words. So like, what happens if I don't know if you just try to get things published? And
yeah,
it seems like that might be a crazy idea, but I don't think it really is. I think
yeah,
a lot of artists just did that and
yeah,
became successful by doing that. And I'm sure hundreds of thousands weren't successful doing that method. But the ones who did, or the things they had in common between the successful and unsuccessful ones, they both tried it. They
yeah,
both put things out into the world to see what would happen. So this could just be like an extended gap year between me going back to get a master's degree and whatever. But I'm curious, like what happens if you just spend 2 years making films and making music, writing books, and sending them out there? What happens?
yeah.
I'm curious to find out. We could do a follow up podcast in 2 years and be like, we put these as like a series together of just
I
the
think
difference 2 years can make in someone's life because
that could be amazing.
we're both kind of at an intersection, and in 2 years we're going to be far down the road that we have, whatever road we choose to go on. So I think that would be incredible.
Yeah, I'm down for it. Like definitely, bro. Like, mm, sure.
Yeah,
Aren't you afraid of choosing that path?
I think I was for a long time until I realized that I would definitely be unhappy on the other path, on the alternative path of staying with education right now. Or I know we talked about regret and we shouldn't have regret, but I know I would regret not choosing the
Okay.
creative side,
Yeah.
and I now have the choice to prevent that regret right now.
Yeah.
So, like, of course,
Yeah.
yeah,
Do
yeah.
you have
Wait, wait,
any?
wait. Where do you see yourself in 2 years? Because when we record
Ooh.
the second part of this.
Um, Not in Spain, like
Hmm.
that for sure. I think it really depends or not in the question that I need to make these months because I'm also like wondering myself, should I do my master? Should
Hmm.
I take a gap year? Right?
Yeah.
So because at the beginning I was like, yeah, I'm doing a gap year for sure. I called the office, like the international office of Australia.
Hmm.
I start contacting some people from Australia that I know. I started to creating like the trip around the world.
Hmm.
And then I came here and I was like, yeah, but also I like psychology. No, I don't
Paint
know.
a picture, man. Where do you think you're gonna be?
In another country for sure.
Okay.
Maybe in USA, maybe in UK. Creating things for sure.
Hmm.
Also like these kind of things.
Yes.
Maybe in Australia, but also learning a lot. like
Hmm.
reading a lot. If I take a gap year and then another one, who knows? And I get lost in the middle of the world, I also want to be good learning, like, I don't know, being aware, like developing my awareness
Hmm.
even more. No, no, it's a really difficult
Yeah,
question,
yeah,
bro.
yeah, it's tough.
It's so difficult.
Yeah. Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like one part of my mind want to avoid that question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's yeah, it's tough. It's like, do I even need to know where I want to be in 2 years, or is it okay just to have a direction and then go towards that direction?
yeah,
And I think maybe some people get caught up in the specifics of where they want to be in the next 5 years. They want to have this specific desk job. They want to have this specific spot at this company. They want to live in this town, and anything that doesn't live up to that expectation would disappoint them. But if your goals are a little bit more broad and like not just like I want to be happy, but like I want to still create podcasts in 2 years. That's a concrete goal. That
yeah. Well, maybe a podcast, maybe a YouTube channel, maybe. But yeah,
that kind of
yeah,
thing, that
yeah,
kind of productivity.
yeah,
That's like a flexible goal that
yeah,
you can exist anywhere in the world and still be doing that.
yeah.
So like that's just a direction.
And also like traveling, to travel a lot. Like if I'm doing my master in, I don't know, let's say USA, UK, Utrecht, I don't know, then I want to work in another place and then in
Hmm.
another one and then in another one. Like I think like life is too short and Earth is too big
Hmm.
just to live in one country. You know,
Absolutely.
and I already spent like 20% of my life, 25%
Hmm.
in one country. I mean, it's okay because I was growing up, but
Or have you felt it these past, say, 2 weeks? We were traveling for, I don't know, 10 days, and then suddenly we definitely weren't traveling. And those 10 days feel like, that felt like a year of my life compared to it. I feel like time just like compressed into like a tiny little ball when I was, or came back here.
yeah,
And it's just a little bit of like a, it's like such a dramatic adjustment that you're like, you're craving it. You're like, no, I want to like explore more so I can
yeah,
have those
yeah.
full long days, those full memories.
Because when you are living that, it's like it's not that. I mean, it's different because you are doing bunch of stuff in other country, but it's like the perception of time in the present. At least for me, is like okay, it's time. But then when you look at your memories, it's like as you said, 1 week of traveling is 1 year. It's
Hmm.
like because you need to perceive more stimuli, you need to process, to interpret more stimuli, so your brain takes more time.
Hmm.
And even though you are here, but if you will be in Canada and I will be in Spain, like the time is like you already know your routine, the street, so your brain is not processing the things. It's like you are losing a lot, you are losing time.
Hmm.
But when you are traveling, you are living more time,
Yeah.
and time is the only thing that we don't have.
Hmm.
You can find more emotions, money, cars, studies, degrees, but not time.
True. Yeah, you can't conquer it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I think the closest you can get is by these getting the new
yeah,
experiences.
yeah,
Like I don't know, it's crazy. Like no, you can harness time literally by putting yourself in a brand new environment or being a little bit uncomfortable.
yeah, exactly.
Uh, so man, like yeah, if we come back in 2 years and we both traveled for one of those years, it's like we've lived for like 5 years. Like
Yeah,
you would experience so much newness that there'd be a lot more memories than this COVID kind of era. Because like yeah, as awesome as self improvement is, I feel like this has taught me the importance of time, the importance of making time, and making life feel longer and richer.
yeah,
And like what are the ingredients that goes into that soup that makes time stretch out?
yeah. And I think for sure traveling is one of them for sure. Like new experience, like seeking discomfort, doing crazy
Hmm.
things, because you are not gonna regret of doing crazy things.
Yeah.
Like let's say crazy, like new experience, like seeking your discomfort zone.
Hmm.
But you are not gonna regret that, and that's gonna show you a new path. And we are in our 20s these years when you cannot avoid the possibility of trying new paths,
Hmm.
right? Oof, I said that
Yes.
sentence.
Yeah. That was good English. Yeah. That's a good point. Like, um, you could come across possibilities you didn't know existed, right? So by doing these new things, again, we're in our 20s. It's all about making choices or finding the right avenue to go down that you're going to live in your 40s and 50s and 60s. But if you spend this careful time, not opening new doors, but just finding a new door
Yeah,
and finding another door and
yeah,
finding another door. So when you get to 25 and you've unlocked, not unlocked, you've got 50 doors in front of you that you wouldn't have seen before. You have a whole new like range of possibilities to go
yeah,
down. Uh, so even not getting caught up in like I have to choose one door right now. I need to go to this place
yeah,
right now. It's like no. What if I just spend some time figuring out all the doors, all the places I could go before I go down one?
yeah. You're right. You're
Yeah,
right. Shit.
yeah.
Do you have any place in mind to do that creative process of filming, editing? Like, do you want to be in Canada? Do you want to
Hmm.
be in Highland? Oh no,
Hmm.
traveling.
I don't think traveling is feasible. I think it's important to have a home. I think it's important to have a space where you can create and be open to receiving ideas and be in the company of others to make them. So, um, I mean, the real answer is yeah, wherever I feel that creative energy, wherever I feel surrounded by other creative people. And I think for me, just based on how much I've already grown up in North America, there's already a bit of comfort to it. There's already a bit of like homeness
Mhm.
to it, and it already feels like an environment where I could get those ideas. Because as awesome as Europe is, and awesome as Spain is, I probably would take a while to like ease into it and get that homey comfort feeling
Yeah,
to
yeah,
it.
I understand.
Because
Busy recording a podcast. I don't know what she said.
if your stuff's getting wet, she's gonna take it inside.
Holy shit. No, it's I'm washing the kimono. Thank you. It's because I have my kimono outside.
Oh no, like
We,
just to wash it.
yeah, right now it's washing
Yeah.
because it was like really wet
Hmm.
because of the training.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, that's the worst that can happen.
Yeah.
Nothing. There's water, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you were speaking about Spain, the home, having a home to create these new things.
I feel like I had a really good idea. I feel like we were about to go somewhere
Okay.
uh, that I totally forgot. No, no, no. It's just the idea that um, oh right, just being here in Europe right now, even though there is a lot of routine to it,
Yeah.
there's just a minor like hum in my brain a little bit of like this isn't home. Like this isn't home, and I feel like it would take I don't know 4 or 5 years for that hum
For real.
to kind of subside, to die down.
But do you think that's because of the cultural shock, or because, or
I think part of it is having relationships that you've spent years and years with. So
yeah,
you feel
yeah,
it's the idea. Maybe the hum is the idea of being known, like feeling really known
mhm,
by your environment and by the people around you. Again, knowing the people around you deeply, and then they know you deeply, and you can still do that in a short short time span, and I have people like you who do know me like quite well. But even just to have that years of experience is something you can't, or years of knowing somebody, it's something you can't get
Yeah,
unless you
yeah,
take the time to know them for a
yeah,
long period
yeah,
of
yeah,
time and see someone go through these ups and downs. And
yeah.
do you feel that hum when you're here, or does this feel like home?
I mean, I feel really. I mean, if I could have this life, like the people I know right now, for 1 year
Mm,
more or something, like I will feel in hope. So right now, I feel like really good. I feel like I have my routine with the things I want. Like
hmm
I have nature so close. I have the jiu-jitsu. I have a library so close. I have my friends so close. But yeah, also like I really miss my friends. I think that's the most
hmm
things I miss was that, as you said, that bond, that relationship.
Yeah.
You build that through 10 years, 20 years,
hmm
5 years, and it's like you cannot substitute that for someone that you meet in 2 weeks and you had two
Yeah.
parties.
Or
But
like if you go back to Spain right now, you'd feel like, I don't know, like a warmness to just being in a really familiar spot,
yeah, but
more
I'm
so than here.
I'm seeking discomfort, so
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
I want to be outside.
Yeah.
I mean, I accept that I am leaving that behind,
hmm
even though I do video calls every fucking week with all my friends. Like
Yeah.
I really miss them, but I like the purpose of my life. It's, let's say, this. So one part, like one really part, is seek discomfort, traveling, living new experience. So I need to give meaning of my life.
You feel like it's possible to hold on to those relationships for so long when you know you're going to be away, when you know you're going to be.
I don't know, but I cannot stay in Spain and
Mm-hmm.
see if they. I cannot stay in Spain and because I am afraid to lose them. I
Mm-hmm.
need to travel. I don't know. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's hard, but
Yeah. It's not like there's one path that has no losses in it,
yeah,
right? But like
yeah,
one path is going to be have a net better outcome than the others, and it might come with losing one or two relationships. But yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
You are not. You are afraid of losing that bonds a little bit. That relationship.
mm, maybe. But again, I feel like there would be relationships in my life, hopefully, that are like so powerful that
Yeah,
it would stand withstand those tests of being apart for so long. Yeah, man, friends that you don't see for a long time and you come back together and you're like, oh shit, we connect.
yeah,
We
yeah,
we're it's just like picking up where we last left off. And
yeah.
I think those are the friendships that stay. And those are the ones that like seek out. Those are the ones that almost maintain themselves. Yeah. Yeah.
Hard topic.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hard topic to reflect.
I'm just seeing if I have other
Yeah,
info nuggets.
yeah. You are really open to share it.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna share all these things,
No, no, not
but
all of them, but you are open to open your notes when you where you write your thoughts and just say it. You
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Quite a lot of it is about firefighting.
Okay, let's speak about
Yeah,
firefighting.
it could be interesting. If not, we just go with the next note. But
Yeah, but let's first of all let's give some background about why are you firefighter? How did
yeah,
it start? You are doing that in Canada, so I don't know. Like,
I think just like you, I was seeking discomfort. I was seeking something new and different and exciting, and it has nature in it, which I do love and do love to be outdoors. Uh, so just like the thought of me being a firefighter was exciting to me. So I was just like,
okay,
let me just follow that direction, that kind of urge, and just see
yeah,
where that goes. Let me just find out what happens. And as it turned, I mean, I got lucky and got in.
Hmm.
Uh, and it is like a brutal, relentless job with lots of highs and lots of lows. With a, the hardest part is probably the lack of sleep and the sheer amount of hours you work.
Yeah. How do you work? Like 16 hours, right?
Usually like 16 hours,
So
yeah,
you
14 to
sleep.
16 hours. So you can sleep. I mean, you can work all day for 16 hours, and then you drive back to your base camp or to the woods where you're camping out, and you make dinner, you do your nighttime routine, and then you get 4 hours of sleep, maybe four or
Holy
five.
shit.
And you've been working out in the woods all day, and you do
How
that.
can you survive that? It's like
Yeah,
being in the army.
exactly.
It's really
It
tough.
everyone comes to a breaking point. I think in the throughout the season, and it's almost exciting to me. I mean, you find it exciting too. Like, well, what's your breaking point? Like, don't you want to find it?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Uh,
and I think it's kind of fun to discover that and see. And again, the bonds you make when you're doing these intense activities is really tight because you've gone through, in some cases, traumatic experiences or just really intense experiences, or just the experience of, again, just like being in a biology lab, doing something really specific together that's intense, tiring, can bring people, I think, very close to each other. So, I came for the nature. I think I stay a lot for the social connections that I've made as well. But
which is the most interesting day or experience that you have lived being a firefighter?
hmm, that's a tough question. I think okay, there 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 could be some experiences that are like difficult to talk about that maybe I don't necessarily want to share.
Okay.
But there are some experiences that are just like, again, awesome because you're not say putting yourself in a really dangerous spot, or you're not involved with civilians, which I think is probably the hardest part of the job.
Hmm.
So this is actually my birthday. I was just like having dinner with my parents at like an Indian restaurant, and I got a call on my phone because we were on call
Okay.
for like I think 12 or 13 hours during the day. So yeah, we're on call during the weekend.
Okay.
And I'm having dinner with my parents, get a call on the phone. There's a fire on the highway. We got to go right now. Let's go back to base. So there's that like rush and like adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going out there. Get to base, get on your uniform, and that's also just like a very exciting part of. I don't know. You feel cool, man. You're getting on your red uniform and blue pants, and you drive to the fire spot, and you're playing, ACDC, and you're getting yourself pumped up, and you're, like, hitting the roof of the car, just getting yourself amped. Uh,
Wow.
and the sun is setting, and then people are like, okay, how big is it gonna be? And you turn on the radio, like the firefighter radio, and you hear, calls of helicopters going by, and like saying like, okay, it's 4 to 5 hectares or whatever. And you're like, oh, it's gonna be a big one. Getting yourself all excited, and then you turn the corner on the highway, and there's a big pillar of smoke. You're like, holy shit! Here it is. Let's go. We arrived at the scene, and you see. Here, I can even find a photo for you.
Yeah.
Take a minute.
That's really cool. Like, no, you are really feeling every word when you are telling that story. Like,
Yeah,
and you are saying the information like really clear and specific. Like, I don't know, you are making me feel like I am
it's
going
right
in
there. Yeah.
that car.
So we arrive on scene. Maybe it looks something like this, where
Wow. I'm
uh,
gonna show you to the people. Yeah. Kind
yeah,
of.
where there's some fire on the hill. And again, we talk about living days that are long and full and rich. And man, you feel like you live a lifetime during the summer because just because you're facing so much. Not only are you just living long days, but these are mostly new experiences for quite a lot of it. So we get there. There's a big assessment. Usually, what happens when you arrive on scene is like, okay, we're gonna have a couple scouts. They're gonna check out the scene, and you're just sitting in your truck. And again, you're playing music. You're getting like excited about going into the scene.
Yeah.
And at this point, the sun is setting. It's absolutely gorgeous, and there's just like this gorgeous pillar of smoke there. So you get, an experience that you have a couple times where you're just like, wow, I don't have to work right now. Uh, I'm not in it. I'm about to work. I'm excited to work, and it is absolutely gorgeous out here. It is just beautiful. There's just you and nature and these people that you work with very closely. That feels very real. It feels very primal. It feels like something that could exist,
Yeah.
400 years ago. It's just this. There's no technology. It's just you and nature,
Mm.
which I love. And in this situation, the scouts came back and were like, "Yeah, it's getting too dark. We're not going to do night operations. We're going to get up early in the morning tomorrow. We're going to pitch our tent, and then we're going to attack this thing." So you're pitching your tent at 10 o'clock, right next to the fire, and you can hear the fire
Wow.
uh, from a distance, and in the next morning when you get up, it's like go time, and you're just going to like attack this thing. So we get up the next day, we circle up, we assign roles. There's a whole bunch of different duties. I guess I'll just say kind of what I went through that day. So typically, what you want to do is there's a fire in this was like a cut block. It's a certain square kilometer area. You want to do is you make a trail around the fire, around the perimeter. But because it's just the woods, there is no trail. So you get chainsaws and you cut down trees or you cut down things in your way to make a trail. And then you have someone in behind clearing out of the way because this person with a chainsaw is just fucking plowing through the woods. They're just cutting shit left and right. They're called buckers because that's what you buck up the wood. So yeah, the person behind it, the person in front of you bucks it, the person behind it chucks it, take it, you throw it aside, and you make this trail. And then you have someone else coming in with a bunch of hose, a water hose, and then running and laying it out along this trail. So the idea is theoretically you surround it in hose and you spray it with water, and then the fire can't spread past that.
Okay.
So that's what you do, and it's just in the middle of the woods. You can get called anywhere and be like, "Okay, let's wrap it and spray with water." So this thing anyway. So that's like the goal that everyone's kind of on board for at the start of the day. In this one, I was paired up with a chainsaw person, so I was just throwing out shrubbery, whatever is in the way. And this was a particularly hot summer, so it was getting up to like 42 degrees Celsius. So as the sun comes up, you just feel it, and the fire kind of stays put during the night. But when the sun hits it, it's just like, it lights up and the smoke just appears there. So again, that's just like the excitement going even more. So I'm behind this saw person today is a really gung ho and it's just like I want to get after it, and they want to be at the front of the line. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm throwing out the shit that they cut to the side of the trail, and then yeah, and then it gets to the point where it's like, okay, we're at the front of the fire. We're at the head of the fire.
Yeah.
So the fire, it moves, across the map, let's say. It only moves one direction. It only moves with the wind, essentially. So we're there, and we get right to the head of it where it's moving. And the thing is, the hose had gone, someone had put the hose ahead of the trail, which you shouldn't necessarily do, but it was drawn all the way up there. And the fire was moving fast already and was going to engulf the hose. And you don't want to lose hose because it's a pain to get up there, and you're hauling it through the woods. You don't want to lose hose. So it was the saw person had gone away at this point. It was just myself and maybe one other person. I was like, hey, we're about to burn hose. We need the hose right now. We need to like spray this down so it doesn't actually hit the highway. across the highway, you can go to Hope, which is the town over. Like this is important. So I like there's a bunch of smoke being pulled this way because it's the head of the fire. So I run into the smoke of it, and it's fucking hot. This is like the first time I had done this. I like was a little out of my element. So you breathe in, you're like, oh my god, okay, I can't breathe here. And you're scrambling up the side of this fucking cliff, mountainous area, and you grab the hose and you drag it down and run past you, and then you get out of the smoke. We spray it down. Eventually, we try to get water to it, and then and then they're like, okay, we need to get you to the other side of the fire because there's another spot that's like erupted. There's another trail somewhere else that someone's cut, and it's like a hot spot on the fire. So I go up, and it's just like this Vietnam jungly bit, and I'm like falling all over the fucking place, and it is totally smoked out. So again, you can't breathe. It was very. This was actually getting a little scary because you start to lose your direction, and it feels like you're suffocating, and you're surrounded by smoke. So imagine yourself just in like, you know, neck high, or no, like twice your height brush, and you're bushwhacking and trying to get through, and it's completely gray with smoke and you can't breathe. That was very intense. Uh, and then eventually, we're kind of like, oh shit, there's the trail. Let's get out of here. Get out of there. There's again trees are just like just like going up in flames.
Yeah.
Uh, so again, you rush in there. You try to spray it down.
You remember every second of this
This was a
day.
very long day. This was like a very intense, long day that doesn't happen often. The job has a lot of long, slow days of patrolling and make sure the fire's out. But this is like the day is active. And what was unique here is that it was just our crew. Usually you have other crews and you have help, but it was like, oh no, this is our fire right now. There's no other help. We need to surround and wrap this whole
Yeah.
thing. And if we can wrap it, we're like, I don't know, we save this fire. We save this cut block. Uh, and essentially it's not a concern to the public, not a concern to anyone. So I saved that. But it's getting very hot and the sun is like just red because of all the smoke that's been going by. And there's a bit of a road already that connects to the main fire that it goes along and down to again a different part of the fire.
Okay.
So we spray this part, uh, which again takes quite a lot of time. This is near the afternoon. And they're like, okay, we need you by the other part of the fire. The only way to get there is through this road. And there's fire on both sides of the road at this point. So it's another photo.
I'm ready. Like you think we were talking, like when you are living that kind of things, like you remember every second.
Yeah,
But if I ask you every second of 1 week ago, you are not gonna be able of telling me.
yeah. So like this was the road.
Oh,
And this part is like it's kind of hard to describe honestly.
yeah,
But okay, we're gonna have to go through this road to get to this other part of the fire that is burning up right now. So you have these helmets on, and you're like, okay, we're kind of gonna go through fire right now. So you roll down your sleeves, you put your face protector on,
yeah,
and you try to look up, and it feels like your fucking eyes are gonna melt. It's so hot. It feels like I don't know if you've ever like stuck your head inside an oven to like check the pizza or something,
yeah.
or you open the oven and you're just like, all that heat comes out. It felt like that, and that's everywhere. And I remember just looking down and following the footsteps of the person ahead of me. Or it felt like I don't know. Have you seen Mad Max?
Yeah.
When there's like a big sandstorm, it felt like a fucking sandstorm, but on either side of you was fire. And you look up and it's just like a stack of wood burning like I don't know 100 feet up, and you're like holy shit. And then you look back down and you keep walking. Uh, and at that point, all you can do is just trust the person ahead of you that essentially you're gonna live, or they're taking you out of this hot zone because I feel like you couldn't survive that long in there because you can't really breathe. And eventually the smoke clears enough where you can see what's happening, and you get these stacks of wood just burning up, and people trying to like people are scrambling everywhere, and again you're confused and disoriented, and you're like, okay, we need to withdraw, we need to get out of here, it's too much. So you're just grabbing all the hose you can get and just like running out of there. Uh, that's a big panic, and eventually we get all the crew back, and we just sit there and watch the fire just completely burn up this area that the fire wasn't going towards at all. And it was essentially like, okay, we fucked up. And we couldn't grab the fire. We'd gone all the way around the whole thing.
Yeah.
And this is the last little bit that needed to be connected.
Yeah.
And the fire went past there, jumped the road, and started burning up this other part of the woods. And we just watched and we're just like, fuck, we didn't catch it. We didn't do it. And our boss at the time was just like, yeah, that's on me. Don't take that personally, yeah, or else it's gonna feel shitty.
Yeah.
Uh, and again, it's kind of a big group moment of like talking about, like, okay, well, what just happened? Uh, it was such a big rush to complete that loop, to complete the circle, wrap the fire, and it's like, okay, we didn't do that thing, we didn't do our job, or we didn't succeed at our job. And to come back the next day and it had burned like an entire city's worth of forest because it had crossed that little section of the woods. And we're just like, whoa, holy shit. And they brought in like four other crews from the rest of the province. And they're like, okay, we were, the cool thing about this fire is we were there at the very start and we saw it like bloom into this massive fire. So I think that was a very powerful day for me. I think a good like bonding day for everybody on the crew.
Would you say is that is top of your days of your life? Top days of your life this day?
I'd say so. I think, yeah, in terms of excitement, in terms of being out there in the woods, in terms of that moment where I had to go and get the hose through the woods, uh, it felt a lot of these fires feel like they're way bigger than you because there's these are massive fires that are like threatening towns and they have hundreds of crews on them. But in this one, it felt like very much in our control. I'm like, no, it's just you guys and the elements of the woods. That's it.
Yeah.
It's you versus nature. Uh, and again, it wasn't threatening a town at this point. It was just purely fighting fire. It was like the very basic elements of firefighting were, I think, in that day. Yeah.
You think it's hard to get into this program, like to get as a firefighter?
I think I was very lucky because they have an interest in recruiting people in university athletics. So I was a university rower, so they already had like a bit of connection, or it certainly helps. They like to see people have an education and that they have good athletic performance or teamwork. It works as a team. So I think I had those elements, which was very helpful, and I'm very lucky to have had that. Uh, and of course, I mean, you got to interview well too. I think that's definitely a big part of it. Yeah, I think you got to have all the right ingredients to get in, really. But uh, had I not had the university education or rowing, I don't think I would have gotten in 100%.
So you really think that I don't know, let's say in the next 4 months I train harder,
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah, and do you think if I would go there, do you think that I could get in?
I think you could. I
Yeah.
think again you have the university background. Uh, if anything, you just interview well. I mean, you just gotta like talk about how you're good at problem solving, or you're good at
Yeah.
at teamwork, or teamwork in high pressure situations.
Yeah.
I think I'd worked as a ski instructor before that, so I think they saw like, okay, no, he interacts with a lot of people. He was a dishwasher. I was a dishwasher as well, so he's okay with like a shitty job. Essentially, he's okay with like getting dirty.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, is it something you want to pursue?
Not pursue like
Or you'd be interested, you know?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe this summer. Like I have three ideas this summer.
Hmm.
I was speaking with my mom like a few days ago, and I show her like my ideas. And she was like, "What the fuck?" One idea is being a firefighter in
Hmm.
Canada. The other one is like going to USA and get a city job,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
The other one is going to Thailand as a volunteer to teach English to Buddhist monks.
Holy shit. All those seem like good options. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've been really like, I thought like, yeah, the volunteer thing, it's an option, but then a few days ago I started looking for that in Google. And it's like quite real. It's like so easy to apply. I could go there. So it's like, and there are so companies, but if you are getting ready by yourself, like preparing your stuff, you can skip paying a lot of things. I can do that.
Hmm.
Like you will work like 25, 30 hours per week, and then you can meditate with the monks.
Huh.
And you have food, you have flat, you have a bed. So it's like, holy shit.
Yeah,
It's like kind of cool.
yeah.
And one thing I want to do in my life, as we discussed earlier, that's going to a monastery. So why not now?
Hmm.
So yeah, 1 month,
It would just be for a month.
maybe more.
Oh, oh no, no, the full teaching experience. How long would that be?
Yeah, like 1 week, 2 weeks, four
Wow.
weeks,
Okay.
depends on what you want.
Yeah, that'd be
More
very cool.
weeks, more cheaper.
Hmm.
So
That'd be great. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. It looks really real.
yeah.
What do you think about that? Would you go?
To the monastery? Yeah, sure. It sounds like again a wild experience that
Yeah.
could increase your mindfulness. Could.
Imagine that you become the master of
Oh
mindfulness,
god.
not the master, but like 1 month meditating.
Or
Oh,
what if you go there and you find out, hey, like what if it would just I'll be a monk for the rest of my life,
I
or
don't
maybe
know.
I'll devote my life to this. Do you see that happening?
Maybe
No.
maybe that's because I'm not afraid of going there. I know
Yeah.
it will be like a step in the road,
Hmm.
a step in my path. I know I want to live that. I mean, maybe I stay a couple of months more,
Yeah.
but I only see that as a stage, as a improvement in self improvement or something like I guess
Yeah.
as an experience. I'm not gonna, or maybe I change my mind and I stay, but I don't think so. Yeah, I record a podcast with
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. What?
who did that.
Yeah. I mean, what were the kind of revelations that you guys talked about there?
This guy was like,
Really into it.
yeah, like in the last, like let's say, in the moment we record, the last 3 months before that, he had been uh, consuming mushrooms, ayahuasca, bufo alvarius, and campo. All of
Okay.
them in the last 3 months
Yeah.
previous that interview. So he was really into that
Hmm.
in the moment we record. He was like in the process of reborn, in treating, curing a few traumas.
Hmm.
Transpersonal psychology, which is so new and so unknown.
Is it? Is it?
Do you know? Do you know?
No. No. Tell me about it.
Okay, it's a new field, like a new path of
Okay.
psychology. From the creator is Stanislav Grof, Czech guy. He proposed like the psychoanalysis, right?
Yeah.
So instead of being the unconscious mind and the conscious mind and the dreams,
Hmm.
it's like when you are in the belly, when your mother is pregnant and you are inside, you will get all the traumas there because you are your face.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So because you are getting choke or whatever things, so then when you are going out, maybe lack of oxygen or whatever, you need to treat those traumas. Okay, kind of ways to treat those traumas. It's through LSD trips.
Are you talking about this is prenatal trauma?
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah,
Okay.
all like almost all of the things, um, almost all of the traumas
Yeah.
are because of that. And then this guy thought that he really had a trauma in that prenatal phase.
Okay.
So he was trying to reborn again and cure these traumas, looking for this ayahuasca trip, um, buffalo barrios trip. Like, for
Did he
this,
feel like he found it?
he's still looking for that.
Okay.
Probably, maybe he's watching that, but
Yeah.
yeah, maybe I didn't explain that completely, like the theory, but
Hmm.
kind of brief description.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's right now into this journey to achieve these things through psychedelics.
Hmm.
Seems interesting, at least, but I don't pursue that field, or I don't completely agree with that. You know
What use do you see for psychedelics in your life?
what?
What is like the use of psychedelics that you see in your life?
Ah, I mean, a couple of times I will say it's fine, but I think like overuse of that, at least from my perspective, from the studies or podcasts I've
Hmm.
read, learned, listened, is not useful because I don't know. I mean, maybe it's useful. mm, Also, it could be like in the previous centuries, in the last decades, we haven't found any uh, method or tool to measure the effects of psychedelic,
Hmm.
and right now we are finding them. That's why there are research about how to treat depression with them.
Yeah.
But I think it's a couple of those. It's not like a daily consume
Yes.
or month consume. I think that's too much. Maybe a couple of use to see what happened with this is only information. Consult your psychologist, psychiatrists. Don't follow my path. Read your papers and listen your podcast.
Listen to experts. We're not experts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We are just talking
Yeah.
information. Yeah, so I will say that. But who knows in the future? I don't know, it's a really complex and big topic. What do you
Hmm.
think about this use?
I think it's a good tool to recalibrate, to realize, sometimes you can realize what's important and have like a revelation. Sometimes it's just like a nice
Yeah,
experience. But I think either way, if you are uh, you questioning or don't really have a direction or want to feel connected to something deeper and greater, it's kind of a good way to just like reconnect with that idea and then live through that idea for the next however long you need to then try it again and just have like a daily update and like a refresh of your life, a reboot, a system reboot, really clean out, I guess, the clutter.
yeah.
But I personally don't see it as anything more than that. I don't see it as mm, connecting with some higher power. Or did that guy get into that kind of idea?
Have you tried them?
The what?
Like,
Psychedelic? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I've tried psilocybin. Um, and like, man, there was this one time where it was like really intense. And I had this thought that, like, okay, I figured out God. I know exactly what God is. I found it. Like, this is a typical thing.
shit.
Uh, and I was like, the only way God can be interpreted as in our conception or understanding of it is this giant light beam, in
Zion?
a giant light beam, like a beam of light
Okay,
through space time.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
And I was like, that is like existence itself. And I was really fucking into this idea. And that the only way to communicate this with this thing, this entity, is through love and connection. And that essentially, when we die, we go and become a part of this thing, and it's a part of this great grand cycle. Um, but man, if I feel like I did psychedelics every day, I would totally buy into that shit and be like, I don't know, I'd be so lost in the sauce of this higher power idea that I think it would maybe pull me out of reality, man. Yeah, I would just exist on this separate plane. And is that bad necessarily?
That's a
Probably,
that's a
right? I feel like
that's
it's
a
bad.
that's a really good question. Like, is this the real world? Is the other one the real world? Like, at least you if you tried one or you are speaking about that, you're gonna wonder that.
No, this is the brutal question. What if you're just blissed out and happy, believing this in this an insane idea, maybe a crazy idea? Um, is that better or worse than being kind of more down to earth and more connected? There's no answer to that question.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
not yet.
yeah. I guess I'll have to do more psychedelics to find that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Buddhist monks.
yeah, yeah,
Imagine that, bro.
yeah, yeah.
Thailand.
Or imagine recording a podcast on psychedelics. That
Only on psychedelics. Oh, wait, like
by
taking.
taking someone, yeah. Or it'd be interesting just to do that to like catalog your experience, maybe, uh, to then like look back and make like a story about it.
Yeah,
Like find out because
yeah. With the Wim Hof method, I had some psychedelic experience.
really,
Yeah, I had journeys. One day I felt I was dying.
hmm
I already told you about that. Like, I remember in my bed, I was like, maybe I'm dying if I don't breathe. Like, I don't know.
yeah,
I really feel that. I was like, it's fine. But then I breathe. A
yeah.
few seconds late after that. But I felt
Was it like a panic attack or was this just like a momentary thought? Like, oh,
no, not panic attack because I was chill. Like, I
hmm
was like, maybe I'm dying. Like, but I really feel like I was dying. It must be like the DMT molecule which you can release through we have meditation breathing, we
yeah,
have breathing. Must be that. And other days I felt like also like tingling a lot, like my face tingling a lot, and I
hmm
start seeing some psychedelic pictures only in my mind.
yeah.
Was
And that's just through
through meditation,
meditation.
through breathing.
hmm
Yeah. And there is one point when you hold your breath a lot, and you hold more. When you hold more, you start feeling weird things. Like it's like being on high, like being high,
Yeah,
being stoned.
yeah,
This made I feel that, but this the last 10 times I didn't feel that. I don't know why.
yeah. No, it comes and goes.
Yeah, I felt that in the cold. The cold, I also feel like tingling. The other day, it was also feeling like I was dying in the cold.
in the cold shower.
Now in the lake, here in the lake,
Huh.
a couple of weeks ago, I was inside. I don't know if I was dying for real. I don't know. Like,
Okay, so you've experienced this feeling twice. I'm just curious,
yeah,
what
maybe
exactly is it?
maybe a couple of maybe one more time, but not much more times. Yeah, I was in the lake. I get into the lake. I did my breathing before,
hmm
and then I felt like all my body in shock. I don't know how to describe it. It was like you can say like electric or flying or
hmm
I don't know. It was so weird. I felt a lot of things in my body, and it was like maybe I'm dying.
hmm
And then I thought I cannot die because I am alone. But this is so good.
Yeah.
Don't know. It's so weird. I don't know how to explain
Was it
that.
a peaceful feeling?
It's peaceful,
Yeah.
but on the other side, you are also afraid of dying.
Yeah.
At least I am. I cannot say, yeah, I was like, yeah, let's die, and then I wake up. No, no, no,
hmm
I won't, I'm dying. Okay, but oof, maybe if I die, imagine that. I don't want to die. But how I'm gonna die? It's like,
Yeah.
don't make sense, but what?
Maybe it's such like an outer body experience that, say, the lack of consciousness, the lack of feeling like you're in a body is almost like death, right? Like
Yeah,
you're not you're present, you still exist, you're somewhere, right? Because you're still alive,
yeah,
but you're feeling none of the things that are associated with being alive.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced that kind of feeling?
Of I'm going to die or I'm dying.
Yeah, I'm dying.
I'm dying.
But I'm dying. Like maybe I'm dying forever. Yeah,
Interesting.
I felt that. Like
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
waking up never.
Maybe tomorrow I won't wake up, that kind of
Yeah,
thing. Oh,
yeah.
interesting. Okay,
Like
yeah.
I was feeling like the day I did only the breathing, I thought like maybe I'm not waking up. Oh God.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm not opening my eyes again. I'm just staying there.
Wow.
Yeah,
No, I'm curious what would happen if you don't
stay.
snap out of it. If you stay there and be like, okay, I'm gonna just open up right now and just try to like let this feeling embody me. Would you actually die? I don't know. I don't think you can, but like,
Yeah, maybe half of if I have someone taking care of me,
yeah,
and you're like, yeah, I'm dying. If I die, like just reanimate me
I
or
yeah,
something like that.
the closest thing I can think of is like when I've meditated, it's kind of a rising feeling where it's not like it again, it's outer body, but it feels like you're nowhere and you're like your mind is nowhere and yet you're going somewhere and you breathe faster and faster and it's like each breath it's like a little more euphoric maybe, and you know that to get to where to keep going with this you have to be vulnerable and let the feeling kind of sink in and let it take over you.
Yeah,
Eventually you end up snapping out of it and be like, whoa, okay. But what happens if you just like keep riding with it and just keep taking that to the next level? I don't know. Maybe you just like bust a nut and just like, I don't know, go on with your day. But yeah, 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 yeah.
interesting.
A goal for 2 years from now, if we find the feeling, to see where it goes.
We can find it.
Yeah,
2 years,
yeah,
at least another level, just another level.
yeah, yeah.